Okay, today we are looking at the Seafarers Book, which used to be known as the Seaman's Book. Now, the Seafarers Book is a logbook, which is a personal record of sea service. As you can see, it is inside a plastic case here, or sleeve, and that sleeve is useful for your birth certificates or passport or any photos or IDs to stay in the one place. So now, let's have a look at this book. As you can see, it's navy blue with a gold print. Now, for the video purpose, this book is completely blank, so there is no writing in it, but I'm basically going to go through the book so you can see exactly what you need to write and stuff like that. So you can see the book now, and as we flip it over, you'll see the first page, so you put your name pretty much here, and when this book was started. So, for example, if I was going on the boat or vessel tomorrow, I'd put today's date. And now if we look at the other side, you can see basically the first two pages. So it is intended as a logbook, and for any service requirements, sea service requirements for certificates, etc. It can all be kept in here as well. And as you can see in the third paragraph down, the wallet which accompanies this logbook is intended to be used to hold copies of birth certificates, qualifications, photographs and other details of vessels. And there are 2 pages at the back which we'll look in later on. Page 3 is pretty much your main details, so name, address, telephones, where you were born, passport number, and any other details that you think are relevant. For example, your tax number, your social security number, or your health organisation number in the country that you reside in. For example, in New Zealand, it's an NHI number, and there's an IRD number for tax. Now, it says down in the box over here, photograph of holder. So pretty much that's your passport photos. So when you take passport photos, you'll have a couple of them done. So one will be attached to that as well as your passport. So if your book gets lost, for example, on the ship, they know who to send it to instead of trying to find your name amongst 50 or other people if you have the same name on the vessel. Now you'll see on page 4 the certificates. For example, your medical certificate, the issue date and the number of it. And that's where you put your STCW certificate, which is your sea survival training and watchkeeping. Down below, the courses that you attend. So any courses you attend on the vessel, for example, if you're on a cruise ship and you have to do on-board training, you'd put that down there as well with the date. On page 5, you have the vaccination and inoculations, for example, flu vaccine, influenza vaccine, tetanus shots, those kind of things. You'd put in the details there, and any other information down here that you think is relevant. Now basically on page 6 and 7 it gives you a brief outline of what the vessel logbook has here and what to put in it. For example, make sure the vessel name is spelt correctly on the hull or commercial vessels at the certificate of survey. The port where the vessel is registered, for example, if it is Royal Caribbean, it will be overseas. If it's P&O, it will be Australia. If it's Princess Cruises, it will be America. The type of vessel, for example, if it is a fishing vessel, a pleasure yacht, cruise ship. And the length of the vessel, now if it is over 30 metres, it is best to put the tons. What type of engine it has, power, steam, diesel, petrol. The vessel's stamp, now that is the master or the captain on board, he has the stamp. And it's good to have a validated stamp so that you can go to other companies. For example, if you're on a cruise ship and you get put onto a different company, you can show that that's the boat you've been on and how long you're on there. If you're doing sailing, what type of sails they were. Service commenced and ended, so pretty much that's your sign on, sign off. For example, if I am here in New Zealand and I signed on in Auckland and that was my first date of the ship, then that's the date I'd put on, and when I left the cruise ship and got back to New Zealand, it'll be the sign-off date. On the next page, you have the part-time, full-time hours, service area. For example, if it's P&O, you'd be going around the Pacific, Australia, New Zealand. What service type? So were you a crew, were you a captain, were you a deckhand, an engineer? And down the bottom here, you will see comment and testimonial, pretty much what you did on that service. For example, I worked on P&O cruises and I was travelling around Australia and New Zealand and thought it was really cool. And the master's signature, which we'll see on the next page, page 9. Any notes that you have relevant, you can jot down there. Now on page 9, you'll see the vessel's name, and we're going to go into one very closely so you can have a look. Here we go. So as you can see, the vessel's name, port of registry, type of vessel, length, all the stuff we've just talked about, and the master's signature and date, or captain's signature and date, and the vessel stamp to the right. Now there are 104 pages, so I'm not going to go through every single page, but we're going to flick right down towards the back. Here you will see 2 pages, 63 and 64. Basically it is your index of entries. So for example, I put down here in details, I wanted to look up where I went to Canada and worked around Canada and Alaska, or USA. I would write it down here. So I was at Canada on 2016, for example, and I recorded that entry on page 52. So then I'd go back to page 52. Not that there's anything in here, but anyway, this is just demo purposes. We'll go to page 52, and if you have a look at page 52, you would see that I went to Alaska, Canada, and that was the boat I went on. So pretty much that is just a glimpse of the logbook and what you should fill out. Now it is good for all crew to have, or any workers, staff, etc. Some cruise ships, if you go work on cruise ships for example, will ask you to have one of these, some don't. As I said, it's a different name in each country. It's known as either a Seafarers Book, which is the current version, or a Seaman's Book, which is the older version. So yes, this is just a brief outline on the Seafarers Book, logbook, and what you should do and what to fill out. Any other questions, please feel free to comment on this page. As I said, this is blank because it was just a demonstration of what to do and what to fill out. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like.